Hi, so I wanted to create this video really quickly because, with the COVID-19 pandemic and, us needing to both work from home and homeschool and do virtual learning, there's a lot of different things that are happening at the same time that people are adjusting to. And one of the struggles that my wife and I have had is, how do we juggle our jobs, which fortunately allow us to work from home, but unfortunately put all types of demands on our time during the day that makes it difficult for us to, do both our jobs and um, help our kids in their education. So, what we wanted to do, rather than just complain about it, was propose a couple of options that look like they could help both us in terms of managing the workload and hopefully help teachers as well. So I'll start with the caveat that I'm not an educator, so I really don't know what other constraints there are that I may not be aware of. But when I started looking at Google Classroom, I thought it was a viable alternative because one, it looks like Chicago Public Schools, specifically where I'm at, is already set up to have a G Suite account, which is usually the biggest barrier for educational institutions. But most of our work is coming from Google Drive, anyways. So that leads me to believe that those accounts already exist. So that's probably the biggest barrier. Um, Another hurdle that I'm aware of is that people that are participating in the class must have a Google account, and even though that's free, that could be a barrier for some, to have to sign up for another service. But again, we're asking people to sign up for things like RazKids and IXL and stuff like that. So one more thing on the list doesn't seem to be too outrageous to ask for. So what you're looking at now is a test classroom that I set up. Mrs. Lowe, my daughter's second grade teacher, and the page that we're looking at now is the stream, and this is just basically like your Facebook timeline or any other Twitter timeline or anything like that, where all of the different events and assignments that have been created get posted. So what I'm looking at right now is the teacher view. So this is the perspective from the teacher. Later on, I'll show it from the student. But since we have to get the educators on board, I wanted to do it this way and then show the benefits to the parents. So if we go into classwork here, these are all things that I created. So I basically took a lesson plan and sort of try to model it out what it would look like in Google Classroom. And you can see here we've got the various topics and the different assignments. So when we go into an assignment like video instruction, here we have a link that we can add to this. We can see how many people are assigned the project. I've got a couple of dummy students that I added to it, as well as any notes regarding this. If we go into, let's say, the science class, here you can see where I've added attachments that are associated with this particular assignment, including video. So if you wanted to click that and see, that's nicely attached to the actual assignment. In the event that you were to do this to create like a new one, we would just do create assignment, and then from there we can do a title, test assignment, instructions. This is just, and then we can even add additional content either from Google Drive or from a link file from YouTube. So if I wanted to say upload a file, I could either select it from my device and upload something that's any sort of file here. So let's just find CFP. It's just an image, but that's fine. So now that's attached. If we wanted to, we could go to Google Drive and we could look at our recent documents. You can see I've got some assignments here from the actual classroom, so I could click that and add it for remote learning. I can add due dates, which is extremely helpful for parents, which we'll get into later. So I'll make that a due date of the 24th. I can even set a time in if I wanted to. Say it's due by 1:30 p.m. We can also assign topics. We can create a new topic or assign it to one of the existing topics that I've created. Each of these was created by me, but it's as simple as going to create topic and just saying test topic. You can determine how many points it's worth if you are actually going to take advantage of the grading methodology. But if not, you don't have to do that. You can just do ungraded. But for illustration purposes, I guess we'll leave it at ungraded. And and then click Assign, and that will go to everyone in the classroom. So the nice thing about this as well is if you go to Google Calendar, all of the assignments that created and their due dates are published as a Google Calendar. But what's extremely interesting about this is you can subscribe to this calendar, and when you subscribe to it, it pulls down into any other calendar app that you use. So if you're using something like iCal or something to that effect, you can just embed this stuff into your existing calendar. So if I wanted to overlay this with my personal calendar, now I can see when her assignments are, along with all the personal stuff that I've got going on in my life. Ooh, look at that! I got a poker game coming up. So this makes it so much easier for us to sort of manage all of the things that our kids have to do. So going back to that, people, these are all the different students. I invited my wife, and then our Gmail account for my daughter. But you can email the students from here. You can also do grading if you wanted to. So I had Ella submit a project. I can do view submission. And this is one of the grading assignments she said. This was just some document on her laptop. I'm guessing she just fell asleep on the keyboard or something like that. But I can review it. I can put in a grade for that. I can even send her a private comment on that she'll see, and only she will see on her assignment. And then I can return it to her. I've already returned this assignment, so it doesn't show up, but you would just click that button and you would be able to return the assignment. So, and then it shows up in this rubric here as well for the entire students, for the entire classroom. I don't know if teachers want to leverage that or not, but that's extremely good functionality. Then you also have the class drive folder, which has all of the documents for that for the Google Drive with all of the different things that you've added and attached to it. So that becomes extremely helpful. But really, what I really like about this is it's one place where we can kind of see everything, and we can see it in this sort of nice dated chronological order, so that we're not scrolling through Class Dojo every day looking at PDFs and trying to tease that apart. This makes it much more accessible for us. The other thing is I like in the little sidebar how we've got a series of upcoming assignments. The other nice thing here is if students have questions or whatever, we can post comments right here in line, and we can respond to these comments as well. The other nice thing is whenever an event like this happens, there's typically email notifications as well. So I'm going to switch accounts to Ella's account. So I switched to Ella's account, and I can see here feedback from new test assignments as well, and a few other places you can see where there's been other interactions with the teacher, but it's very specific to something that you've been following or something specific to your classroom, which is a little bit better than what we get with Class Dojo. What other features? That's really it from a high level from the teacher perspective. I'll switch to Ella's view as a student. So from the student perspective, I come in, and it looks very similar to the teacher perspective, right? So I have all of my assignments here in a nice streamline, in a nice timeline. I can make comments just like I could from the teacher view. I can go look at my classwork, and I can do it by topic, right? So I can say, let's look at the mystery science lesson video. I can view the assignment, and then from there, I can say, yep, I watched that. I can mark it as done. You didn't attach anything, but I can still say mark as done. That goes back to the teacher so that they know that I completed it. If I had a special comment on there, I could say, wasn't anything for me to attach. if the assignment is just reading and watching videos. So on a private comment like that, that goes directly to the teacher. Only the teacher can see it. If I wanted to make a general class comment, I could say, I can make a comment like that, and then move on. The other nice thing about this, though, is, and where it really gets super helpful, is if I have multiple teachers that have invited me to classrooms, when I look at my to-do list, it will merge these across the different classes. So here I've set up a second classroom with Ms. Bueno, and I can say, just give me the Ms. Bueno assignments, just give me the Mrs. Lowe assignments, or give me all assignments. You can even look and see what I've got done already and what's been turned in. This is graded because on the teacher account, I've gone through and actually assigned a grade to it. This account, I've just specified that I've turned it in, but it hasn't been graded yet. So that's extremely helpful from my perspective as a parent because it gives me one place to be able to go and look at all of the different assignments and collect all of that stuff. The other thing that we did as a test was if we find the video assignment, so if I go to back to classes, back to Mrs. Lowe, classwork, video instruction. Okay, so here you can even have the link to the class video, the Google Meet, so that we can have that scheduled ahead of time. And it also, if you do it as a calendar invite, will show up as a calendar invite with the link already there and pre-populated. Now, I know that there was some concern about having that that link available early, which is one of the reasons why we wait for the last like 10 minutes before we send that out. But that becomes really burdensome for us because you know, it's an extra thing that we can't deal with ahead of time. We have to sort of wait for that link, so we have to make sure that we're available during that time period, as opposed to being able to set this up for our kids ahead of time, and they just know what they need to do next. By scheduling this on the calendar invite, that gives us the ability to quickly add that. It's also easy for us to show Ella where to go and actually click on this herself. But the other thing is, if we're concerned about people accessing that link erroneously, the teacher still has to verify that that person can join the classroom. And if they don't verify that and they deny the person, that person can't join. Also, subsequently, if you accidentally add that person and you don't want them in the classroom, if you remove them, the next time they try to join the classroom, they're also, again, prompted to be readmitted to the classroom. So that's another way that we can kind of combat people joining the classroom in error or maliciously. So this is just sort of like a quick overview. I just wanted to sort of get it out there, get feedback, get comments. Like I said, I'm sure there's a ton of things that I haven't taken into consideration, but I just wanted to offer some sort of solution and talk about how we can make this a bit easier for everybody, because I feel like, coming up in with the next couple months, with classes being canceled for the remainder of the school year, we're going to have to hunker down and deal with this quite a bit more than usual. So thanks. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a note. I would love to talk about this some more.